move to the race for governor. Please remember, all the candidates, that the congressional candidates said were excellent role models, exactly 3 minutes, and 2 minutes for the nomination speeches. We are going to continue that protocol. And with that, I recognize the Honorable Matt Brown. Matt?
Thank you and good evening. For years, I've been public and open about the fact that I am working to build a movement to change the leadership of our Democratic Party. So given that, I'm well aware that I will not get the endorsement tonight. But I came tonight because we are in an emergency. Last week, the Supreme Court ended Roe versus Wade protections. And there are a lot of people who are deeply fearful about losing control over their own bodies. And the institution that people are counting on the most to restore those rights is the Democratic Party. But the Rhode Island Democratic Party, as it currently exists, is failing to provide that leadership. House Speaker Shekarchi and Senate President Ruggiero should have called a special session to immediately pass the Equality and Abortion Coverage Act, and they didn't do it. Governor McKee should have refused to sign the budget until the EACA was passed. He didn't do it. The root of the problem is that we have people in leadership in our party who do not support reproductive rights, even though it is part of our party platform. That needs to change as soon as possible. So tonight, I'm calling on a party to refuse to endorse candidates that do not endorse and support the Democratic Party platform, including reproductive freedom. That means the party should endorse Lenny Seo over Dominic Ruggiero, Clara Hardy over Arthur Corvese, Marlene Guy over Robert Phillips, Damian Lima over Raymond Hull, Zachary Pereira over Joseph Solomon, Eric Aston over Frank Lombardi, Arthur Flanders over Frank Chacon, and Jennifer Rourke over Michael McCaffrey. I also came tonight to let you all know that the movement to change our party is growing. There are a small, committed group of people in this room who are working to change the party from within. And I thank you and I commend you. I want to let you know that I and others are working very hard on the outside to change the party by winning elections. That's why I co-founded the Rhode Island Political Cooperative, which has dozens of extraordinary candidates running for office this year. They're nurses, teachers, social workers, people who have been fighting for our communities for a very, very long time. And they're fighting for democratic values. Together we will win. And we will change the leadership of our party. And then we will have a party that will fight to restore reproductive rights. We will have a party that no longer endorses Trump supporters in primaries over progressive Democratic women. We will have a Democratic Party that will support raising taxes on the richest 1% and spending the money to make sure all of our kids get a quality education. A party that will fight for $19 minimum wage, for Medicare for all, for a Green New Deal and shutting down the Port of Providence. We will have a party that fights for our values. If you want to join us in this movement, I welcome you. Thank you very much.
For the purpose of a nomination, I recognize the Honorable Linda Ujifuture. Sorry, Linda. Ujifuture. I'm going to get it.
We're going to get it one of these days.
Yes, thank you, Linda.
Appreciate that. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. My name is Linda Ujifusa. I'm president of the Portsmouth Town Council, vice president of the Portsmouth Town Council and District 72 committee woman. I'm honored to nominate Matt Brown for the Rhode Island Democratic Party endorsement. I believe his experience, knowledge, skills, work ethic, and policies make him the best leader to ensure Rhode Island can deal with the serious challenges facing us today, everything from sea level rise to unaffordable health care. The latter item is why I support Matt. He is the only candidate for governor who has unequivocally supported Medicare for All for years. He knows that we cannot let middlemen, private insurance companies, and pharmacy benefit managers get record profits while actual healthcare providers like hospitals, visiting nurses, mental health facilities are forced to close. He understands the complexities of healthcare policy and finance, and he is not afraid to stand up to the rich and powerful corporate interests. Some say that we should only do what is politically feasible, but shouldn't that be what the majority of people want and not just what political leadership will allow? Matt recognizes that the Venn diagram of what people want and what leadership will allow only partially overlaps, but it should overlap completely. That's why he co-founded the Rhode Island Political Co-op to elect dozens of multiracial working class candidates, people who have spent their lives fighting for their communities and will continue to fight for their interests once in office. Matt has spent over 30 years dedicated to making our state and the world safer and more just. He led City Year Rhode Island, the youth service program that provides tutors to kids in public schools. He then co-founded and led Global Zero, an international organization that works to prevent nuclear war, and was twice nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. And most recently, he co-founded and led Renew US, which is fighting the climate crisis and working to support a multiracial democracy. From 2003 to 2006, Matt served as Rhode Island's Secretary of State, removing barriers to voting and launching a first-in-the-nation electronic voter registration system. I also support Matt because of my family's experience. We suffered through the racist Japanese internment of World War II, but were able to achieve the American dream. Government can block progress or can make sure that it happens. Matt Brown wants the American dream to be available again to all Rhode Islanders. His plans are detailed and achievable, and I urge you to endorse Matt Brown for governor. Thank you.
At this time, for a second, I recognize Aaron Pearson. Thank you. It's been nomination made and seconded. Next, I would like to recognize Elena Folks, please. Elena, welcome.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you all so very much for what you do, for being here tonight. It's a great honor to be in front of you. In 2009, as my mom was about to pass away, she pulled all of her children together and she said to us, take care of each other. Take care of each other. And that is exactly what we need to be doing as a Democratic Party, as a state, and as a nation. This is a critical time for all of us. I believe it's a failure of leadership that only 20% of our kids pass their math grade level tests. We must do better. No one should ever have to stay on hold for an hour and a half with DHS to get their SNAP benefits when they need to feed their family. Our housing situation is in a crisis that must be urgently addressed, but one that can be tackled with a strong, committed leadership and bold ideas. I believe that Rhode Island, a state of just 1.1 million people, can be the best in the country at delivering health care and mental health. We can be a shining star. I believe that abortion is health care and must be available to all Rhode Islanders. Gun violence is an epidemic, and while we have made progress, we must ban assault weapons in Rhode Island. We must do better in climate change, and this will require real action, not just words. Rhode Island's oceans have the potential to create clean energy and create a thriving economic engine for the blue economy. We must ensure that our children and our grandchildren can have great futures here. And this means that we need to support businesses, especially small businesses, so they can thrive and attract the kind of talent and the resources that our children need. I believe that leaders should hold themselves accountable to the people they serve. As a recession looks more and more likely, leadership matters now more than ever. the next governor will face difficult choices and have to make some hard decisions. But I'm an optimist at heart. I know it's possible to get big things done because I've done it my entire career. At CVS, I led the decision to get out of cigarettes, and I worked with the Obama administration to make sure the ACA passed and thousands of people got access to health care. With strong leadership and the courage of our convictions, we can get big things done in Rhode Island. It would be the ultimate honor to be able to serve all of you and the people of this state as your governor, and I seek your endorsement tonight, and I thank you very much.
Next, I recognize Senator Louis DePalma for the purpose of nomination. Senator DePalma.
Thank you, Chairman. My fellow party members, it is a privilege and honor to stand before you tonight to provide some brief remarks, something which I did not do very lightly. I stand before you tonight wholeheartedly and without reservation to nominate Helena Bonanno Folks and ask you to join me in voting for Helena for our state party endorsement for governor. Why am I doing so, you might ask? Let me share some brief remarks to tell you why. We in Rhode Island are at a precipice, a crossroads. As we exit this global pandemic, which has impacted each and every Rhode Islander in every facet of our everyday life, we need a leader to accelerate us out of the pandemic, providing for the needed laser-focused vision and leadership to navigate us successfully to the next 4 years. Big things await us, and we need to accomplish these big things post-haste. To that end, Helena uniquely possesses the proven track record of getting big things done, and she has done so for several decades, leading some 200,000 people with an $80 billion budget. For my 14 years in the legislature, I've seen Rhode Island work through some challenging times, and have seen firsthand how 4 distinctly different governors, chief executives, have led our state. We need to ensure that billions of state general revenue and added billions of federal funds have the necessary chief executive leadership overseeing these critical investments. And for my 30 years in private industry involved with billion-dollar programs, Helena is what we need. She has articulated a well-formed plan on education, housing, the economy, and healthcare, to name a few. Her focus on these critical issues are kitchen table issues all Rhode Islanders and we as Democrats and our party need. Let me end where I started. I wholeheartedly, without reservation, nominate Helena Bonanno Folks and ask you to join me in voting for Helena for our party's endorsement for governor. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator DePalma. Next, I recognize David Chenevert.
Second.
Thank you. Next, I recognize the Honorable Secretary of State, Nellie Goubert.
Good evening, my fellow Democrats. I'm so glad to finally be here in front of you today to speak on why I want to be your next governor and why I want your endorsement. For 30 years, I've made Rhode Island my home. During those years, I've traveled every corner of this state, from neighborhood beaches and shore acres with my kids, to taking the ferry to Block Island, helping small business owners from Woonsocket to Westerly, and buying plantains in South Providence, and gravy in Federal Hill, and plant cakes in Chowder in Galloway. I've been there. And Rhode Island is blessed with a diversity that's easily accessible because of our small size. But what makes Rhode Island home to me, really, is its people. It's no secret that we're facing really big challenges at home and abroad. And at a time when our country seems to be losing its way, our state, Rhode Island, can show other states how to become better, more inclusive, and more inclusive. Now, we've done this before, when democracy was just starting in this country. we in 1663 created the first government that protected the freedom of conscience. In 2022, we can lead the way by making sure that we have a government that truly works for regular folks. A government that invests in people. Now, how do we do this? We can do it by making sure that Rhode Islanders have a quality, affordable home. We do it by ensuring that Rhode Islanders have access to quality public education. We do it by protecting the basic human rights that Rhode Islanders have always believed in, including the rights that seem very much in peril now, for women to make their own health decisions, for anyone in the state to marry who they choose. Now, we also do it by making sure that Rhode Island is a national leader in protecting our land and our water and building the businesses that will thrive in a new era of common sense climate awareness. And we do it by making sure that we invest in people. Because people are our best assets, not our corporations. People are the ones who run businesses and community organizations. And we can build on the diversity of the backgrounds that we have in our state. But it's the people we need to focus on. Now, there's going to be a lot of big ideas floating around. The big idea is going to die in a bureaucracy that hasn't been transformed. And I know how to lead that transformation. You've seen me do it as your Secretary of State, and I'm so proud to have been able to do that. As governor, I will lead our government with transparency, accountability, and results. I've done it already for 7.5 years. I can do it as your governor. And I hope that today, those of you in this room will invoke your conscience, ignore the old politics and the threats, and vote to endorse me as your next governor. Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I recognize Maria Rivera for the purpose of nomination. Maria?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. My name is Maria Rivera, and I am proud to be the mayor of Central Falls. It is my pleasure to nominate my friend and a great Rhode Islander, Nelly Gorbea, for consideration as the endorsed Democratic candidate for governor. Over the years, I've seen Nelly's dedication and love for Rhode Island in action. For 30 years, she served our state as a leader in our community and our state government. She has done this while raising 3 beautiful children, simultaneously elevating the presence of women in leadership positions and setting a powerful example for young girls and the generation after us. As mayor, I know what it takes to get things done. Nelly gets things done. She's a woman of her word, and she sets impressive goals that she delivers on. 8 years ago, she promised Rhode Islanders she would make government work for people. She did, even through the pandemic. Thanks to Nelly, Rhode Islanders have a modern and secure election system that's nationally recognized. Her hard work and election system will benefit our communities and all Rhode Islanders for years to come. Thanks to Nelly, record numbers of businesses have started even through the pandemic. And thanks to Nelly, our state's history is secure and accessible at the state archives. Nelly has a clean track record of success that makes her the best qualified and most credible candidate in this race. Right now, we need a governor who can lead and make difficult decisions so that every Rhode Islander has equal opportunity in our state. With Nelly as governor, we have a leader who can tackle this challenging post-pandemic world. With Nelly as governor, we'll have a leader who is accessible because she listens to diverse views. With Nelly as governor, we'll have a leader we can be proud of, not only because of who she is, but because of what she gets done. How do I know this? I know this because, like you, I've seen her do it. I've worked with her. In this room, we know that working in government is a team sport. We share many of the same priorities: transparency, diversity, and equality. She's a woman leading the way, a woman who advocates for what's right, even when it's the more difficult path. She won't shy away from the challenging work our state needs in years to come. That's why I know she's our best choice for governor. Nelly will be a governor for all of us. Thank you.
For a second, I recognize Ann Gooding. It's been nominated and second. Very good. Thank you. Next, it's my pleasure to recognize the Honorable Governor of the State of Rhode Island.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Next, it's my pleasure to recognize the Honorable Governor of the State of Rhode Island, Governor Daniel McKee.
recognizing Warwick and the Gatsby Parade. We're gonna make that number one as we create a state of destination for people around the country and around the world. I get to be here tonight to talk about actual things that we have got done as well. So about 15, 16 months ago, I was sworn in as governor of the state of Rhode Island. And since that time, we have worked to make sure the economy was strong, the people were healthy, the schools were open, and we were focused on equity across all community lines in all 39 cities and towns. We worked on policy, and I was fortunate to be able to work with House and Senate leadership and members of both the House and the Senate chambers, and was proud to sign into law an act on climate, and that we are dedicated to meet those goals by 2030, 40, and 50. Medulla Services, Senator Quesada will be second to me tonight. I got to give her a pen on that. We'll also be extended postpartum for moms from 60 days to a full year. We pushed and secured, a child tax rebate with the surpluses, the largest surplus the state of Rhode Island has ever managed, separate and apart from the federal funds that we're going to use. We ensured that the state tuition for Rhode Island students, regardless of immigration status, was covered. We also prepared and supported an immigration license permit for our undocumented to make sure our economy stays strong. We're second in the country on our economic recovery. When was the last time that the state of Rhode Island was first and leading the country on an economic recovery? Not only that, the health issue. We were virtually last, if not last, on vaccinations. Today, with the help of our mayors, Joe Policina, Charlie Lombardi, and others, we vaccinated people around the state of Rhode Island, and we're number one in the country on vaccinations. This doesn't happen by accident. This is leadership. That is why I'm here today, to ask you for your support in nominating me for governor. I would also like to add family. My wife Susan's here tonight. My dad, who passed away in '86, ran a small business. I ran small businesses. But also, he showed me about how to volunteer and work in the community. My dad started a boys club in our town. 25 years later, I was president of that boys club, changed the name to the Boys and Girls Club because I know that I want the same for my son and my daughter. I want equal rights for them and everything that means. So I'm here tonight to thank those who will be supporting me, ask those who are not supporting me to continue to work with me as governor, and those who are undecided, I ask you to decide tonight. Let's decide on progress for the state of Rhode Island as we have never seen before in our lifetime, and I intend to lead the charge, not only in the primary, but win the general election and keep the progress going in the state of Rhode Island as we have enjoyed over the last 15 to 18 months. Thank you so much for coming.
For the purpose of nomination, it's my pleasure to recognize the Honorable Mayor Charles Lombardi of the great town of North Providence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and fellow Democrats. Let me tell you why I know and believe that MD should be and deserves our support in September and November as our governor. My wife Carol and I have become close friends with Dan and Sue. You see, I know his family values. Born and raised in Cumberland, continued to reside there, caring for his 95-year-old mom. I know his family's community involvement for the last 100 years. It's unquestionable. As Dan had just mentioned, comes from a family business enjoying 100 years of success. His family started the Cumberland Lincoln Boys Club, the endowment fund, the local basketball coach, town councilman for 4 years, mayor for 12 years. When Dan became the mayor, he was faced with a 90-day state takeover. In 8 years, they got 8 upgrades, financial stability, and substantial surpluses. Let me tell you what this man has done for the local mayors, managers, and administrators. When he became the governor, we immediately had a seat at the table. He knows the calls that local officials get. Oh, by the way, my street's not plowed. Whether it is the General Assembly, the mayors, the town councils, he knows how to get it done. He's been there, he's done that. COVID, we received an F from Harvard. Now we're the most vaccinated state in the country. It's not easy to be a mayor, governor during a pandemic. This year, our taxpayers will see a no tax increase budget with the largest surplus ever. When you're the governor and a candidate, you become an easy target. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I say, look where we were 2 years ago, look where we are now. I'm asking you to join me in nominating Dan McKee as our governor in September and November. Thank you very much.
For the purpose of a second, I call on the Honorable Anna Kazada. Anna?
Second.
Thank you. Next, I recognize Luis Munoz. Dr. Luis Munoz.
Hi, Dr. Luis Daniel Munoz. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's important to have your voice heard. A kind and interesting sentence often shared with the historically marginalized when we step into spaces of privilege. It's important to have your voices heard. Those words make me think of our ancestors, of their voices, stories, and teachings they passed down through songs and lullabies. Lullabies that were often designed to forewarn children of the consequences of pushing too far. In that spirit, and in a time when we're facing a rise of fascism, violent acts of racism, and threats to our bodily autonomy, I'll ask, will we continue to be a party of sweet and dark lullabies? Will we continue to be a party that lulls the marginalized into unfulfilled promises? Will we continue to be a party that believes in progress in so much as it is comfortable to listen to? For a long time in Rhode Island, our voices have been heard. Indigenous people, Cape Verdeans, African Americans, Southeast Asians, Latinos, Black women, trans Black women. We've been heard, and we've called for change. But have governors listened in the state of Rhode Island? Instead, we often witness appropriation and tokenization of our lived experiences for the production of sweet, rhetorically sound platform points for the well-off and the politically ambitious, who do not have the courage to enact progressive change. Let's be clear. Changes that would allow teachers to teach the truth of history here in Rhode Island. And the true intent of a persistent two-sided lullaby, which we can call enough. We've had enough, we've done it. We've had enough, we've done enough. A lullaby of unfulfilled promises, and we hear it all the time, this exhausting back and forth that has indeed put many to sleep. But we are now awake, and we will not be lulled back to sleep by lullabies of inequitable education systems and of the working class struggles in Exeter, lullabies of inaccessible healthcare and unaffordable housing in Portsmouth, lullabies of racial injustices and of police brutality in Providence, and of warriors like Leslie Simone in Westerly, Megan Cotter in Exeter, Jennifer Lima in North Kingstown, Dwayne Keys, and youth organizations in Providence who confront political resistance because they do not fear to speak truth and to take progressive action, because it is right to do so. We've authored all of your lullabies, but we're done hearing our songs sung back to us. It's not enough for my voice to be on this stage. The voices of many have carried me here, and it's now time for our bodies to be seated at the helm of change. This is our democratic lullaby, forewarning of the consequences of indifference. But may this one keep us all from sleeping, because we have work to do, and as governor, I will work towards free healthcare, equitable education, and an economy centered on people. Thank you for the courage of your support.
Next, Next, I recognize Meg Carter for the purpose of nomination. Meg, come on down. Wait.
Me again, friends. Megan Cotter again, still, the chair of Exeter. We invited all of the candidates to come down to Exeter, to the Tilted Barn, to speak to our committee, our growing committee. We've worked very hard over the last 2 years to grow and gain more members. We have a very big tent in Exeter. We have from very left to very right, and everyone has a home and everyone has a voice in our committee. And the day that everyone came down to speak, all the candidates, we were pushing a senior yard cleanup. We have made it a point to take our committee to the next level and do the work in our community. We do blood drives, senior yard cleanups, let's see, drawing a blank, I had it all in my head 2 minutes ago. We've done several community outreach things. And as we were having each candidate talk, there was a sign-up sheet going around to have people come. And Lewis was the only one who signed up. He came, he got dirty, he rolled up his sleeves, and he cleaned yards with us, with our committee. He did the work, and he will continue to do the work. And I know it's not just Exeter that he's come to do something like a senior yard cleanup. I know he's doing it in Woonsocket and Central Falls and Portsmouth, and it's important that we recognize every voice in the room and let them have a seat at the table. I will also make a note that I still have my poison ivy that I got that day. And Lewis doesn't even sweat. The guy just does the work and doesn't break a sweat. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Meg. Thank you very much. The nominations have been made and seconded. Is there any Oh, second, excuse me. I recognize Dwayne Keys, please. Dwayne Keys? Second. Dwayne seconds it. Made and seconded. Thank you. Thank you, Dwayne. The nominations have been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, we will begin balloting. Please remove the blue ballot for governor from your packet. The ushers will go forward and collect your ballots. We'll give you a minute to fill them up.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the tabulations are being processed for governor, I do have the results of the endorsement for Congressional District 2. There are a total of 81 people here casting votes, 67 for Seth Magaziner, 4 for Ruth Morgenthau, 5 for David Siegel, and 5 for no endorsement. Seth Magaziner receives the endorsement of